Good morning. Welcome to Grow Your Strength, week 3 of this program. We're going to start with some breathing. This morning, I'm going to take it into face up position, but feel free to go face down, anything that you feel comfortable in. We'll work on slowing the pace of the breath and getting it nice and deep as we breathe in. And then as you exhale, just letting everything relax and recoil. Just a little expansion with the breath in and a recoiling with the breath out. Micro adjust anything in your body that doesn't feel comfortable. Very nice. And we'll just transition to our ankle work using a stretch strap, if you like, and then refocusing on that slow breath as you go through some movements to mobilize the knee and the ankle. Lying on your back, the non-working leg can be straight or bent, and you're just going to take some time to pull your knee into your shoulder and then fully extend up. We'll go with about 3 of all these movements. Sending the message that this is a positive kind of stress for the body. I was just listening to a podcast on exercise, Rich Roll and Dr. Rhonda Patrick. And there's a net benefit to the anti-inflammatory response and anti-oxidative response to exercise, but it is still considered a stress. So that's why it's nice to continually remind ourselves to slow the cadence of our breath and not hold our breath through exercise. I'm rolling the sole of my foot in and out now. I'm going to point my toes to the roof and roll the sole of my foot in and out. And then take it into some slow circles, 3 each way. It's nice to be reminded of that, though, because sometimes I feel like a broken record. I'm like, breathe, and when the tension on the body gets high, for example, a core challenge, you might be thinking that you need to hold your breath to kind of manage that level of intensity. And I would argue that that would be too hard a level of intensity if you can't keep the breath flow in and out through an exercise. So keep that in mind. There's only very few exceptions where you might hold your breath, and that would be under circumstances where you were doing maximal lifts and perhaps competing. So not at what we're trying to do for growing our strength safely, reducing the risk of injury, and reducing any pain that you might be experiencing. Same on this side, taking some time to point and flex the foot, rolling the sole of the foot in and out, and finishing with your circles. If you're done, we'll take it to hands and knees for cat-cow. Spreading the fingers, taking some time to distribute the weight through your hands. I've got my hands just a little wider than my shoulders, knees a little wider than my hips. And then around my back up, let my head be heavy, push the floor away. And then start at my low back and just kind of let my front side roll through the floor, Drop the chest a bit and pull the shoulder blades together and just gently look up. No crank in the neck. Starting at the low back again, slowly rounding through my mid back, through my shoulder blade area, and my neck. After your next breath cycle, we'll take it to half kneeling position. In the half kneeling position, just want to work on leveling the hips. And today, let's find a position with the front foot that as you pulse the knee forward, you get a little stretch through the heel. Just nice and tall with your posture every time. We'll do 5 pulses, just finding the end range that you can access to get a little stretch through the front of the hip and the thigh on your down knee side. After 5, take your front foot out on an angle, continue to pull that heel in, and let's see if we can get some ankle mobility here, just pulsing forward to the range you can access. Taking this front foot a little wider, anchoring your forearm down there. Let's do some reaches. Slowly turning the head and looking up at the roof, wherever you can access. About 3 reaches. Let's open up the fingers, doing a little stretch. Ooh, I need this one. I feel a big stretch through my side and through my hip. How about you? Foot in front, 1 set of shoulder cars. Spread the fingers. These are those controlled articular rotation. That's the acronym for the car. And we're just taking our arms around in a slow circle, kind of figuring out left and right sides. It's okay to kind of give yourself a few pulses. What are you feeling as you bring your arms back? You can have your hands, palms facing out, and then try to touch your shoulder blade on the opposite side. And then slowly rewind this. What do you feel through the left and right sides again as you come back? Staying upright in your posture. Being patient as you bring your hands down. Okay, switching sides. Not so easy to do if you just had a coffee. All right, switching sides. Level out the hips. Find that place with the heel. Take your time. Keep that ankle as mobile as possible, and consistently doing this, we're going to improve our ankle mobility. And then taking the front foot out. Can probably get a little bit more out of that, so I'll pull my heel in a smidge. And then taking it to the reaches. Back upright. Deep breathing. And then as we bring our front foot in front, let's do single arm shoulder cars. So just 1 arm at a time. Focus on the upright posture. As you bring the arm around, be mindful that you're not extending through your back to get more range out of your shoulder. That would be cheating. So just go to where you can go. And then hand up, touching the opposite shoulder. And slowly rewind. Feels nice and connected. One more on the opposite side. So I mentioned about not rotating back. Also, make sure you're not rotating to the side. So as you bring your arm around, keep the plane of the shoulders to the wall in front of you. You might be feeling a little different side to side. Sometimes we hear a few things when we bring our shoulder around. Don't want to move through pain, but a little clicking, cracking, sometimes that will improve with the postural, the way your shoulder sits. It certainly has with me. So, study of one. Just be patient with yourself. Do you need to create a little bit more space or create a little bit more connection to work yourself through some of these sounds? I'm going to do the shoulder. Well, we did the shoulders. I don't know. Hip cars from two positions. Okay, so on to hands and knees. And slowly take one knee off. We'll do a slow hip circle. Same idea as the shoulders. Got to go slow to access what you can. No moving through the rest of the body. So distribute the weight evenly between both hands and your down knee there. And just be mindful that you're not weight shifting to that non-moving side. Can you hear me breathing? So this is where the going gets tough, when you really bring your leg around and you're going slow enough, could almost stop at any point. How are those wrists doing? Do you need to give them a little stretch or deload them for a moment before going to the second side? And I did, and then here I go with side two. Push the floor away, keep the posture through the neck, rewinding, finishing off my circle. Excellent. So side lying, rolling this top hip forward so the bottom hip is tucked under. If there was a light beam from my belly button, it would be angled down a little bit to the floor. Top leg comes off, and now you're trying a circle from this position. Okay, might feel a little bit more focus on the hip muscles. Definitely don't want to be feeling this in your back, so that's why I've got you rolled forward. That's going to limit how far you can get with your leg, I guess, in a way. And then I'm just going to rewind as I kick back, activating the muscles through my hip. And because we go right into clamshells here, I'm going to go with 10 knee only and 10 knee and foot clamshells on this side. So just taking some time to work the full range that you can access by lifting your knee up and bringing it back down. Feet are relaxed. You can see that that's as high as I can get. If I wasn't rolled forward and I was here, I would look like I could get a way bigger range of motion. As I bring my leg up, activating all these muscles. So about 10 of those. Always welcome to modify the rep range based on how things are feeling for you. Work the up phase and the down phase. So you don't just come up and then let the leg fall. It's work and work. Good. Continue that nice deep breathing. And after 10, we'll switch sides. We'll do our our circle first, side lying hip car. Roll that top hip forward. Here I go. Knee up. Nice and slow, thinking about the muscles that you're working through your hip. And again, kind of like the shoulder, don't take it through any pain. Sometimes with the hip, it can click as well. And if you kind of know where you're going to hit a click, then don't go into that range. So just kind of stay out of it. I find it a little easier to do with hips than shoulders. And as you get stronger and the posture is more optimal, like I said, we'll hope that the clicking and sounds will become less. All right, here we go. 10 knee only, feet are relaxed. Work the range. This is where you get to see that I'm a bad counter. Pretty close. Got to stay ahead of you guys. Stay ahead of myself some days. Always amazes me how you can feel that no extra bands, just the body weight of your leg can significantly fatigue in through all the muscles through the hip. Okay, bring yourself to back and we'll pull the knees in. Just relax the feet and a nice stretch through both hips and the low back with that. I sometimes like to just roll a little left and right and work my shoulder blades into position. We'll go into double bridges next. So you position your feet on the floor about hip width apart. Make sure there's not a big arch in your back, so you're just aligning your rib cage. And then squeeze your hip muscles and lift up. We'll go through 10 double bridges. Up, squeeze, down, release. If you're working on posture every time, sometimes when your hips hit the ground, you have to do a little gentle chin tuck and reset that alignment of your rib cage. So here, just making sure, yep, and up and squeeze. After 10, we'll go into the single leg bridge and take one foot off the floor and either hover it or grab onto the back of your thigh. I like to put my other arm across my rib cage. So I'm just nice and kind of locked in as you come up into about 5 single leg bridges per side. So activate the hip, come up and down with control. Looks great, everyone. Reverse tabletop position is next. To find the reverse tabletop, the knees float over the hips, feet are relaxed, hands are relaxed. Okay, you could start with some slow reaches on the diagonal. So opposite hand and leg reach away from each other, and I'm turning my head and just looking at my overhead hand as it reach. Here would be a place where posture and breath are really important. So how far you reach away puts more torque on your core to connect. And if you go too far, you're going to feel some stress in your back. Maybe your back is going to arch off the floor. You can bring your knees in to rest. So if you can maintain this core box connection as you move your arms and legs, and you can play with widths, with how far you reach, and you're still doing this nice deep breath, then you're really within your zone to build core strength. Okay, if I go a little wider this time and then reach and perhaps slow it down, hold the end range just for a nice deep breath in and out, then you're getting more time in that extended position, more time under tension that your core is needing to work. Core being all of this, core box. All right, roll from elbows onto the elbows, right under your shoulders, elbows placed. I'm going to bend one knee, lift that knee off the floor and then roll and plant my foot, and then open up my hand and gently look down and look up at my top hand, and then slowly just kind of feel that shift of movement through your upper back, through your hip. Switch it up. Good opportunity to stretch the fingers of both hands. Little neck movement. Feels good. As you come up onto your elbow, just make sure your shoulder's not shrugged. Wherever you're at, we'll just do one more per side. Good. From here, we'll take it to hands and knees and work on our shoulder blade mobility. So I'm finding a neutral back. So my neutral, it's not rounded, it's not overextended, it's right in the middle ground. And then I try to hold that as I drop my chest to the floor and squeeze my shoulder blades together. So now I'm trying to isolate the shoulder blade movement from my back. This is actually quite hard to do. I've practiced it, so it might look easier than it feels. Spreading my fingers and pushing through my hand as I go and separate my shoulder blades. I'm not taking all the weight on the heel of my hand, right? So go forward into your fingers and just try to get what you can out of each movement, around 10 times. Now into a bear. Shake out the wrists, tuck the back toes, find a good position for your shoulder blades, so not too far apart and not too far together, somewhere in the middle. Float the knees off the floor and challenge yourself to go through some deep breaths through the nose, in and out, 3 to 5 breath cycles. Make sure you're not collapsing in the shoulders or head, and if it's too much, you just come down and rest for a moment. You don't have to do the full hold. Listen to your body. Maybe it's just one breath cycle. That's okay. It'll get better over time. Now the same with a plank. Step back, anchor in those shoulders. I've got a little activation through my hip muscles. And there's 3 breath cycles there. Take a moment to shake out the wrists. I'm going to grab a pillow so I can just show a lower. Nice big pillow is going to make the lower a little easier. So now I step back, find my shoulders, can step back into the plank, and then just pull myself down, gently bringing my shoulder blades together to a nice safe landing on the pillow. Now that would be an option to try to grow the strength of your plank or push-up movement. If you've got some mini push-ups, which would be something like this, just a little bend and come back up, you want to teach your body to safely pull yourself down to the floor over time. And again, consistency and just practice are going to get you there. And it's all a practice. We'll come to standing next. We'll work on some balance before we hit up our strength pairs. Got my toe spacers on, so I'll take those off, grab a sip of water. We'll start doing some weight shifts. Side to side. Kind of feeling out your feet. And when I go to one side, lots goes on in the ankle, in the knee, and the hip to stabilize. If this is feeling easy, then blink or close your eyes just for a moment as you're on one foot. It changes things. And close your eyes. And now we'll go into some balanced cross taps. So just slowly bringing one knee up right in front of your hip. Take the opposite hand touch the knee, blinking or doing this with your eyes closed. It's going to make it harder. Stay safe. Don't want any falls in the attempt of trying to reduce falling. Go over to a piece of furniture so you can hang on to something. Good. Now we'll switch into a balance reach. I take some time to set up my foot that I'm going to balance on, slight bend in the knee, and then I'm reaching forward with my hands. Palms face each other. Can I bring my hands a little higher? Thumbs to the roof. Come back up to posture. Switch feet. Side to side about 3 times. Pushing that heel to the wall behind you. Staying within a sort of zone you can control. And come back up. The nice thing about reaching to a piece of furniture is that you can see if you're level. So the shoulders are level and the hips are level as you extend the leg back and coming back up nice and straight. After your 3, it looks good. Remember, not get frustrated. This is just every time you do this, trying to teach your brain a little bit more what the control is, how strong your hip is, how mobile it is. Gosh, so many factors with balance. The connection with the floor, what you're feeling through your feet. Oh gosh, I think I could name a few more like eyes and ears, but you can see that simply asking me to improve your balance is not an easy ask. Side to side. So just sitting the hips back and coming back up, going over to the other side. I'm going to change this up to a side step balance for something different this morning. So we're going to step out and then try to come to an athletic stance balance. So I'm stepping out and then kicking up. And so instead of the forward reach balance, I'm now asking for hip stability on the side. So as I come up, if this feels too challenging, slide your foot along and then take it off, right? So this is a lateral balance move. And I'll try some on the other side. So I'm stepping out with my right foot and I'm sliding my right foot along, and then I'm trying to balance on my left leg. A little bit more would be to step out and then try to stop, right? So I'm asking all these muscles to not do this. Stay stable. That takes some practice too. Well done. Okay, let's hit up our first strength pair. Squats for 8 and a version of push-ups, okay? So it could be push-ups off the wall or the floor. Now, when thinking about 8 squats, what are you gonna load up with? I would like to see some resistance. If for some reason you're not there, your resistance is your body weight and your speed. Here's a kettlebell I'm holding in the chest position. Connect with my feet. I'm inhaling as I pull myself down. Exhale, stand up, activate my hips a little. Looks great. Go through this at your own pace, up to 8. Getting some resistance that your body has to work a little harder through the squat for. We want to create some adaptation. So if the body weight squats are getting too easy, we've got the form, go ahead and do your squats. After 8, take it to a push-up position. Here's the wall, well, technically my fireplace, and I can pull myself in, work those shoulder blades that we spent a lot of time on already. Shoulder blades come together as you pull yourself in. Push away. They spread apart a little bit. No shrugging. Nice thing about choosing an elevated position for your push-up, less percentage of your body weight, and you can start to really move your shoulders through that retraction and the push. So it's a great way to prime where you're headed with that push-up, which is the floor. Okay, now I'm going to go a little heavier. So I took 2 dumbbells instead of that kettlebell, and I'm going to load 5 pounds more through my 8 squats. Should be feeling good on the back, on the hips, on the knees, only going to a depth that you can control. Okay, then find your push-up position back to the wall, if that worked for you, or you're sitting up on the floor. Could be those mini push-ups, could be the lower that I showed, or working towards some full push-ups would be the goal. That looks great, everyone. So those are the strength pairs. If you're playing the video back and you want to do another set or 2 of the squat and push-up, then just pause the video, do another set, and then move on to the next strength pair. This is the half kneeling press alternating with the lateral fly. So I did this from the up knee side. So it's 2 exercises in one. This is a weight I know I can press overhead. So I'm in my half kneeling from my up knee side. And then I'll turn to the side so you can see my elbows at 90 degrees. And I'm bringing the weight out into a lateral position, elbow about 90 degrees. So play with this. You can come back to the shoulder overhead and take your time to change it up, a lateral fly. If one of these exercises, such as the overhead press, triggers anything in your neck, then this might be an option to just stick with till you get a little stronger. Okay, so work with what you got. We don't have much choice. If the overhead press feels good, great, do both. Another opportunity for you to see that I'm a lousy counter, but my shoulder told me that was enough. Switching sides. Okay, don't forget to set up your half kneeling. Your back toe can be lightly tucked or flat. Lightly tucked puts a bit more stress on the knee, but it actually might make you feel more stable. Lateral fly. Okay, the further your front foot out, the more base of support you have, so the easier it's going to be to stay balanced. Right in front of your hip is probably a good place to aim it for. We're working our core as well as our shoulders, staying upright in this position. Looks great. Boom. Love it. Okay, you get that little fatigue. You're probably counting. You know how many reps you're doing, matching your reps on both sides. And then we move to the second exercise in this pair, which is the long seated band row. So you take a long stretchy band, loop it around your feet, sit upright, and check the tension so that if your elbows finish at the sides, you can feel the work through your shoulder blades. Remember not to have the elbows come too far back. If that's happening, walk your hands closer, get nice and upright, and work. You can take your elbows a little wider, a little narrower. Change how much you grip the band. In fact, I think I put a note to myself about changing the grip. Squeeze more through your thumb and first finger and pull, and then change the grip to your small fingers and see how that changes what you feel through the postural muscles of your shoulder blades and underarms. right? It does change it a little. Thumbs, pinkies. Yeah, just work different angles. Goodness knows the shoulder has lots of angles to be challenged in. Okay, one more time through both of these. How did the weight feel for the press and lateral raise? Mine was a little heavy for the reps I didn't count. I'm going to go one dumbbell lighter and see if I can get a few more repetitions in. Okay, I'm going to start up knee side, tuck my back toe, and I'm going to aim for 8. Here's my lateral. A little bit more freedom with the lighter weight, a little ease, and I can go slower because I've got more control in these ranges with the lighter weight. I don't feel like I was hurting myself with the heavier weight. I just like that I can do a few more reps, talk, and not count at the same time. Switch sides. There we go. Each one just feels good, doesn't it? More of each. Yeah, excellent. Okay, back to your band row. Upright, check the tension, play with the grip between the fingers. Want to be mindful that you're not shrugging up into your neck. So think shoulder blades and armpits. 12 to 15 pulls. If you have a lot of tension, that's going to be hard. You might want to do less. Remember, keep checking in with how things are feeling. We'll make more progress that way. Nice. Okay, so our last strength pair is a hip hinge and the static lunge. And both of these can be weighted up. The hip hinge is this movement where the hips go back, the back is nice and neutral, and you come back up. Now you can do this with a kettlebell, sitting the hips back, anchoring in the shoulders. You want to take a breath in as your hips go back. Exhale as you stand up. In this standing position, I'm lightly activating my hip muscles. Then inhale. The weight doesn't have to go all the way to the floor. This would depend on a bunch of factors: how wide your feet are, how mobile your hips are, right? Whether you can keep your back position as you move through the hip hinge. The knees bend, but they don't go forward. Using dumbbells is another option. And I like the dumbbell option because you can come up, you can even rotate your palms a little open at the top, squeezing those shoulder blades together again. Inhale, hips back. Exhale, up and open. Okay, so that's paired with our static lunge. So this is split stance, dropping the back knee a little or a lot, weighted or body weight. Check the front knee, right? I can drop the back knee and keep the front knee kind of over my ankle, or go forward a little bit. I think I've been emphasizing that forward is going to be the goal over time, but it has to feel okay on the knee. You could test the water. Okay, that doesn't bother the knee at all. And then if you go forward, maybe it feels a little tighter. No pain, actually feels pretty good. So just play with how things are feeling for you. 6, 8, we want to up it to 10. It's up to you. There we go. And let's run through this one more time, and then we'll finish with the get up again today, running through a full get up. So hip hinges and lunges. I'm going to load up my hip hinge with 2 10-kilogram kettlebells. So if you dial in your technique to start with, body weight, then add some light load. If your technique is good, then you can start going up higher in weights. And I would argue we should. We want to get stronger as we age. We need to optimize all the muscle that we have and slow the muscle loss that comes with aging. Sarcopenia. It's okay. It's happening to us all. But by doing a consistent resistance exercise program, you're gifting yourself reduced injury, slowing that rate of muscle loss, and optimizing the muscles that we don't lose. Like, we don't lose everything, thankfully. Okay, and then the static lunge. Am I going to load it today? Everybody looks good in the screen there, by the way, for their hip hinges. So I didn't load my first set. I think I'll take a light load. I'll try a dumbbell, just holding a dumbbell across my chest. I'm going to aim for 6. Just taking some time. Inhale down, exhale up. There's a little forward. Good stuff. Other side. A little forward. Yay. Okay, so again, if you want more sets of that when you're doing the tape, put a little pause on, do a 3rd set, and then finish with the get up. So if you know the full get up, go ahead and do one. I'm going to go slow through a body weight get up, so you can follow me for that as well. The get up is learned in stages, and sometimes in the beginning you just go to the elbow, or what I call the tall sit, and then just bring it back down to the floor. So here's my starting position: right arm up, right knee bent, left arm and leg out on an angle. Anchor in the posture, take a breath in and roll to the elbow. Flatten the hand and press up. Now you're going to need to take the weight between your hand and this bent knee foot, so you might have to bring the hand in a smidge so that you can lift up. Okay, maybe that's as far as you go, but you can bring the knee through. And then this looks very much like our half kneeling position that a lot of the exercises are in. Just getting that knee right underneath you and adjusting the front foot and the back foot into the half kneeling so that you can take a breath in and stand up. From here, you always step back with the leg that's opposite to the hand in the air. Try to control the landing so you get a soft knee to land. Open it up. Come back down to your hand. Make sure that you're not shrugged through your shoulder. You take that weight between your hand and your foot and you come through to your hip. That's it. Beautiful, Shelley. And then down to your elbow and all the way down to the floor. That is like the best. Okay, it does not have to be perfect. Switch sides. Left arm up, left knee bent, right arm and leg out on an angle. Make sure your back isn't in a big arch, just a gentle connection. Roll to the elbow. No shrugging. Hand. Up and through with the knee. Take your time to sit into your hips. Keep that breath going. Line up your lunge. Stand tall. Take a big step back. Try and get control of your balance before you come down and land on your knee. Open the front foot so you've got lots of room to come down. You're always coming down on your bent knee side, the knee on the floor. Through to your hip, elbow, and back down to the floor. Okay, I love what you guys were doing there. Thank you for your attention to not only the Grow Your Strength class, but the Get Up practice. Okay. It'll change your life. Never losing the ability to get up and down from the floor and getting stronger as we work on it as a daily practice. I'll stop the tape now. Again, thanks. Enjoy the week.